Well, good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Tuesday, the 22nd of October, 2024, about 6:10 p.m. Central Time. And another day where silver got up to $35 an ounce. Yeah, that's pretty important. Remember my silver report just recently? For those of you that are in SLV or GLD, I didn't catch it in futures. I admit that. Caught it very nicely in the ETFs. The chart patterns were there, but the dollar risk on the trades not embedded were just too big. And that's when you come in and use the other hand to trade. But as I'm looking at these markets, still looking good. Copper being dragged along. Platinum pulled up and got into the area where it got up to the upper band finally, and that was a task because the market's been using a lot of steam. You can see that the metals lifted up and you're back away from now from the $70 a barrel. Wasn't I just calling on Joe Biden? Hey, Joe, where are you and our energy secretary? Why aren't you buying for the SPR? Well, now it's about $1.50 higher than they could have done it. Here's your dilemma, though. Bonds and notes continue to stay in the fray where you've added enough yield, you're back to 4.2%. I don't know if you're going to 4.5 or not. And what we all know is that the market is now wiped out from where it was the day before the 50 basis point cut by the Fed in September. You've made back all that ground in yield. Dollar index has been strong with interest rates high, and yet gold doing this in silver. That's fighting a big headwind and no problem slicing through everything. When you look at gold, if you finished here right now, you're up for the week $30. I'm not saying you're finishing here, up 1.2%. And if you closed here, it'd be an all-time high. When you look at the market, the launch off absolutely took place. You can see how the market's had the pattern of lower lows, higher highs, and been running every day, making a higher high. The battleground was as I thought it would be. It showed up at the 18-day average. It did it here the same way, and this market has stayed with that, and that's how bull markets go. When they break to a close moving average, so often fight a bit of a battle and try to figure out what to do. So what the market's running now, this is called the Gorilla Glue trade. I named it because you think of that glue, how strong it is. And when you latch onto a Bollinger Band, that's what happens. And it often tries to get the market to embed if it's not done so. You cannot count tonight both numbers over 80 as part of the embedding process. Let's see, it's not going to let me do that. It's doing the top part there. I apologize. But you're not embedded. You're overbought. It's got to pull on it a little more to get yourself embedded. The gold-silver ratio, I got my colors right tonight, the silver, as this keeps dropping, it tells you that silver is getting stronger than gold whenever it's under the 18-day moving average. And the lower the numbers, the less amount of ounces of silver you'd have to turn in for 1 ounce of gold. And silver, like gold, running overbought. So these markets, at any point, for no reason at all, can put on a correction. That does not mean the trend is changing. A correction is just that, a correction, and I'd be on the alert for it, but I think traders are going to try to buy that. Copper's battleground is ultra clear. It's the 100-day average of closes, this green line. The bias is down. You're void of a trend. You were oversold and still are. Haven't changed that. And as I said, platinum today did get to the upper Bollinger Band. It too is not a market that is embedded. So we have overbought conditions in most of the metals, which you'd assume happens. They can convert to that embedded reading, which gets them even stronger, but they haven't yet. And they've done it in the face of a dollar that has been embedded. This is how that looks, and it often portends even higher prices to come. Unlike the metals, this is not overbought. This is a market that probably gets aggressively bought on breaks in the market by the trade, so don't be surprised by that. In terms of news for tomorrow, well, here's what we've got. You got the Mortgage Bankers Association coming out at 6. You got home sales coming out around 9 o'clock. Last month it was, 3.86 million. They're looking for about 3.84 right now. Not a lot of difference, but with interest rates this high, with mortgages this high, this existing home sales is not going to be the easiest thing to get up in a number. I think you understand that. These aren't new home sales, they're existing, so you watch that. I want to remind you that my silver report goes off the website tomorrow. So if you're interested in seeing it, your last chance is through tomorrow. It's the special currency report. When you go to iraepstein.com, look at the top left, you will see, actually, if I do it that way, when I look at this, but here's my left over here. That's where you're going to see it when you look at the screen and how this all looks. Give it a click and enjoy the report. I cover all the seasonals. That's all it's about, what the dollar normally does right now, and boy, is that on the money, where it goes into the election, what happens a bit after, and what is historically, and that's all I can tell you, what has historically happened. Do I know that that's the future? Of course not. Just because history happened doesn't guarantee that that's what the future holds. I wish life were that easy. It isn't. So watch it, understand what it's about, you take it from there, and I'll catch up with you all in the morning.